Hello everyone, dear friends from Italy, Turkey, Greece and Portugal. Our wish would have been to meet in Portugal and never have to record this video, but for the moment and until the pandemic allows it, we are going to have to do it like this. Some of you remember the school, others will be the first time to see it. This is where our students are trained in gastronomy and also obtain the graduate in secondary education, which allow them to continue studying and training for life. As a consequence of this pandemic, some countries have prioritized online classes, but here in Spain, face-to-face classes have been prioritized as much as possible, which is why we have had to establish very strict operating protocols in order to guarantee this face-to-face teaching. Let's go and have a tour explaining our operating protocols at school. The first thing we do when students arrive at the school is take their temperature. Each teacher who has class for the first time in the morning in charge of taking the temperature of their students. In case the temperature is higher than 37 degrees centigrade, entry to the classroom is not allowed, and if a student is older than 18, must go home and call the doctor. If the temperature is below 37 degrees centigrade, the students can access their classrooms or their corresponding workshops. In the case of underage students, they are referred to the COVID classroom, which we will show later. The family is called to come and pick up them to take them to the doctor. After taking the temperature, they are forced to give themselves hydroalcoholic gel before going up to the classrooms or corresponding workshops. This is the class of basic vocational training students. The tables are separated from each other by a minimum of distance of 1.5 meters and must even maintain that distance when working as a team. The students can never change their places, and the sketch of the situation of each student in the classroom is visible in class and must always be updated in case it's necessary for the health services. As you can see, there are hydroalcoholic gel dispensers in all classrooms. Ventilation is a very important issue. Classroom windows should be open as long as possible, even during the cold winter. As a minimum mandatory rule, it was established that they open for 5 minutes every 20 minutes of use, although the recommendation is that they always be open. Regarding the use of laptops, our protocol establishes that only the teacher can pick them up, give them the students, and they must disinfect them before and after use with this disinfectant spray that is in all classrooms. The workshop is a critical space since it is more difficult to control social distance and the fact that students cross or mix. Of course, the use of the mask is absolutely mandatory, as well as the washing of hands and disinfection of all utensils after each use. In the workshop, there are also marked work areas, marked in red, right, for each student to facilitate the distance between students But it is not always possible to maintain this distance while working in a kitchen. As a consequence of this, the teacher's control must be very strict, and the student work groups that may need to be created should be included in a document in case this information has to be forwarded to the health services. If during the school day there is a case of discomfort of a student and they have symptoms of COVID-19, they are quickly transferred to the COVID classroom, where the COVID responsible of the center will take the temperature, monitor their symptoms, and their safe exit from school and contact with health services will be facilitated. In the event that there is a positive case of COVID in the classroom, that entire classroom begins to telework at home at least for 1 week. And from the center, we have to send all the documentation at our disposal to the health services so that the health trackers do their work. A sketch of the classroom, on what dates and on what hours the student has been in class, in each workshop, who has been in contact with the student at school, if they have used the school cafeteria, restaurant, etc. With this information, and that provided by the student himself or herself, health trackers will decide who should undergo PCR diagnostic tests and which isolation protocol the positive student and the classmates should follow. On the other hand, if a student has any symptoms of COVID-19 or is infected, he or she should never attend to school, must notify to teachers to pay attention to the rest of the students, and the affected students follows classes from home through the Google Meet that has each subject from Google Classroom, in such a way that it is guaranteed that the student can follow the classes, but in this case from home. We have been using this system since the beginning of the school year, and so far we have not suffered any outbreak at school. Yes, there have been isolated COVID-19 positive cases which have been infected outside the school, but thanks to these protocols, so far we have been able to prevent the virus from the spreading throughout the school, causing internal infections, and we have also managed to ensure that teaching can be guaranteed face-to-face with students.